I, Magara Flora, swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give, searching the matter before court, shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing else but the truth. So help me God.
My Lord, I pray that the same protection be extended to her. No media house should publicize her identity.
There is a media protection. Once you get a briefing, please abide by that.
Your name once again?
Magara Flora.
How old are you, Flora?
I'm 57 years old.
What do you do?
I'm a businesswoman.
Doing what exactly?
I sell cosmetics. And I also work with Wendero Dairy Farm as well. Wendero Dairy Farm, in charge, as a director in charge of accounts.
Do you know a gentleman by the name of John Magara?
Yes, I know John Magara is my brother.
What about a lady called Immaculate Magara?
Yes, I know Immaculate Magara is the wife. She's the wife of my brother John Magara.
What about Renata Magara?
Yes, I also know Renata Magara is a daughter to John and Immaculate Magara.
Renata Magara and
what about Susan Magara?
Yes, I also know, I know Susan Magara the late, the daughter of John Magara.
Where is Susan Magara now?
She passed on.
When?
Susan Magara passed on the 27th of February.
When did she die?
On the 27th of February.
Where was she buried?
In Kitoba, Hoima.
When did she die?
We discovered the body on the 27th
Oh,
February
which year?
2018.
Where was she buried?
In Hoima, I forgot the LOC, but in the
Did you attend the burial?
yes, I did, in Kitoba village. Yakafunjo, LOC 1, if I remember well. Nyakafunjo, LOC 1. Yes.
Yeah, I want you to look at the people who are just opposite you and identify each if you can. Each of them, if you can. Do you know any of them?
Yes, I know one of them, not all.
Who do you know?
The gentleman next to the lady in black on the side. Yes, without glasses, the other side, yes.
Are you in the order? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And you mean
Yes. He's number 3 from the other end. Yes, the other end. 1, 2, 3. Next to 3. Yes.
You know him by name?
No. No, I don't know him by name.
She points at the person and we get someone to touch him so that we can confirm the exact person she has identified.
The third person next to the lady in black
That person from the right.
from From this side.
From this side.
Yes. On the right side. And side. Yes. Of the lady.
My Lord, I pray that what attaches the person that shares.
Is that one?
That one. No, the one was.
Never.
Yes, please.
What is your name?
For how long have you known him?
I don't know him.
Sorry?
I do not know him.
I'm asking, how did you come to know him?
Because I saw him when I was delivering the ransom.
You saw him when you were delivering the ransom? Where?
Yes, in Deje Parents School along the Sabala Road. Parents School. School. Yes. Along Salama Road. Busabala Road. Yes.
Okay, on the 7th day of February 2018, where were you?
I was at my home. At night. I worked during the day, then I spent the night at my house.
Yes.
Yes.
What happened?
On the 7th of February, I didn't know what was happening, but I learned about the disappearance of Susan on the next day, on the 8th morning.
On the 9th?
8th morning.
8th of?
February 2018 in the morning.
Yes. How did you get to know?
John Magara, my brother, sent me a message, a telephone message.
When did I say?
It was a WhatsApp message.
Okay.
Yes.
And you message your WhatsApp.
Yes. Well, what did you do? What followed next?
I went direct to the office where Susan was seated, and where Mr. John Magara was at that time in the morning.
What was the message?
The message read that Susan has been kidnapped.
What did you do?
That morning I went to Kabakanjagala office in Mengo, where Susan was sitting and where Mr. John Magara was that morning.
Where Susan was sitting or
Used to sit. Used to work. Sorry. We were discussing way forward, and first people calling in, trying to seek for help from the security agents, calling various people. People are coming in to see how they can help us, since they had had the news of the disappearance of Susan.
Yes, what followed next?
On my side, I decided to move from my house, and I moved to stay with my brother at his home, Mr. John Magara and his wife. Yes, of course, after some time, I got to know from Mr. John Magara that someone had called his wife, Immaculate Magara, that they're with Susan. They're with Susan. We discussed it as a family, that how do we know?
How did you know? Who told you?
Mr. John Magara told me that his wife has told me that someone has called that he is with Susan. He's the one keeping Susan.
Yes, continue.
Yes, as a family we sat down and say, okay, how sure are we that it's the right person? Maybe it's a hoax. So we agreed that when they call next time, because this person, when he called Immaculate, the phone will not be on. So so we agreed that maybe we ask when they get Susan again online, because we had requested, let them put Susan online. But when she's online, let us ask her a unique question which will ensure that no other person can know. She had her other name, which she wasn't using on her papers, and to ask her follower from her mother's side.
Which name is that? So I can tell court that on top of Susan Magara, she had another name that was not known to everyone.
Yeah, the one her mom had given her.
Okay. Which other question?
to tell us who follows her on her mother's side, her follower on her mother's side. So after days, when they called again, it was not the same day, they put Susan online. She was online, we heard her voice. Yes, it was her voice. She was crying. Then we asked her those two, I don't remember very well if it was John or Immaculate who asked them those two questions, and they were positive. She told us that other name, and then she told us her follower on her mother's side. So we confirmed it was true, it was Susan we were talking to.
You know the follower on her mother's side? You recall the name of the sister from her mother's side?
Not very well.
Okay. Yes, continue. You have now confirmed that it is Susan?
Yes, we confirmed that this gentleman was with Susan. So they went ahead and asked the family, asked Immaculate, the amount, they had asked her the money they wanted to release Susan.
Yes.
Negotiated for a figure. Negotiated so that they reduce. Pardon me?
What figure they told her?
They had told Mrs. Magara $1 million. I don't remember the figure very well.
Sorry?
I can't remember because I think it was too low, then they went up. I don't remember those negotiations properly. Yes. But at that time they were talking to Mr. Magara.
Yes.
Yes. Then at the right time, when they called, Mr. Magara told them he was ready, he had the money. He said, okay. So the next day they called around 11, late morning, early afternoon. When they called, we were with him at his house. They told him to take the Massacre Road.
How did you get to know they were calling on this phone?
We would always share. Remember, I didn't tell the call that the phones were recording. And we were always in the house. So we see that now they're called, they're here. So we will make sure he got to the concert, he was going out. We called him and he was going to Massacre Road. Yes, after some time, he called me that he's back. Then I asked him, did you deliver? I said, no. They called me, they told me, go back, you're moving security. So he turned back. We went to the main office and eventually came home. Of course, the next day they called and they were very annoyed. This gentleman was very annoyed. He said, Magara, I told you, don't involve security. Why did you move with security? Please stop. Of course, he pleaded, I'm going to stop moving with security. I'm sorry.
How many people were calling John?
It was only one gentleman whose voice was, we had got used to it. You could tell the voice for a man and a woman.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, continue.
When it failed, then we waited because we could not call them. We had to wait on their side. All along, because we'd consult the security people, they were on our side trying to help us. So after some days, they called again. They said, now, tomorrow, be prepared. I want to call you and bring us the money. So we agreed as a family in the morning. I said because we noticed that they're taking him on a highway somehow. Because we won't go back to Massacre Road. We must go to another highway. So I drove the car with the money to town and waited somewhere for the call so that he moves faster. As we also alerted someone to help us.
Was it that very person?
Yes, he was the same person. So the next day, very early in the morning, I left home with the money because I was scared of security because I had a lot of money with me within the car because we had agreed I would drive the VTs, which they had instructed him to always drive. I drove the VTs with the money and yes. And for him, Mr. Magara, he went ahead to consult the security personnel, tell them what they have told him. I went somewhere and stopped.
Where was this?
In Mengo.
And where was John?
John went out to meet the security person and tell them that the kidnappers called again to guide me, to give guidance on how to go about it and security if possible.
Yes, continue.
Yes, much later, John came to me. He phoned me where I had parked, where I was with the car and the money. He said, yes, they called me, said I should take Matuga Road. It's John, John came to me and told me this. They've called me. They said now I should take Matuga Road.
Timo,
Yes, John went. He came in with the security person.
what about the money? Because at a certain point you were the one with the money in the car.
Yeah, the car, I didn't touch the money. I'd leave it because it's with the bag. I'd leave it in the car.
Yes.
So I just gave him the keys. I gave him the keys and he went.
That is to the bit.
Yes, the boots, yes.
So did he deliver the money?
So much later, he called me. Then I asked him, did you deliver? He said, no. They told me they've seen me with security, I should go back.
Yes, continue. What followed next?
When we went home, we sat as family. We said we've tried all. John, his wife, and said now we should stop involving security because it's not helping us. And we also prayed that at least they should call another family member, because when Mr. Magara told us how they're communicating to him and trying to distract him, take him in a deserted place, we feared the next time they're going to take him with the money. Yes, indeed. They called me on the 22nd in the evening. I recognized the voice.
Who called you?
The kidnapper, that gentleman who has been communicating throughout. He called me and told me, go to your brother right now.
Hold it. Did she know you by name?
Yes, he called me by name, though he called me Florence. Florence, go to your brother, tell John to give you my money. Get onto a boda now. Because the evening it was 5.
Continue.
And I assured him, yes, I'm going to meet my brother and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell him to give me your money and I will deliver it. He cautioned me, don't call him person alone. Don't share it with another person.
What language was he using?
Runyoro.
Even when he called you, was speaking Rojoro?
Yes, please.
Continue.
So when I reached at Mr. Magara's home, he wasn't in the house. I phoned the wife, Margaret Magara, and I said, can I talk? I went to the bedroom. I told her, the gentleman has called me. It was a relief on our side, because it was our prayer that they called someone else and not Mr. John Magara. So, Mr. Magara came in later. We told him, and he was also happy. He said, it's okay. That very night, he gave me the money. We put it in the Vitz car, and I locked it and I kept the keys. So around 8.
And where was the bit?
It was at the house, at home, parked in the compound. So around 8 in the night.
How much money was it? Did you have an opportunity of checking it out?
Yes, I opened the bag, looked in, I saw the bundles, but I didn't count it.
Bundles of what?
Of US dollars.
What denominations were they?
100.
What do you mean 100?
100 notes. 100
$100
notes, yes.
Yes. In which type of parcel was it?
It was a locally made bag. Locally made, like a backpack, but locally made with flowers on top. Because we had been given another bag, which we took back to security because it wasn't helping us. I don't know if it was mentioned in court. Yes, so around 8 he called me again.
what?
8 p.m. The gentleman called me again, the kidnapper.
Day?
Oh, that very day when I had called, that was on the 22nd. So he called again. Have you talked to Mr. Magara? I said, yes. Has he given you my money? I said, yes, I have your money. I'm ready with it. Wait for my next instructions. He switched off. Next day, we left home and went to town.
That is which day?
The next day was 23rd. 23rd of February. Because it told me 22nd. 22nd, yes, just the following day. So in the morning, I was walking in town, going to my place of work. I found a missed call. Then shortly after he called, because he said, why aren't you picking my calls? That same gentleman, the Runyoro gentleman, speaking of Runyoro, the kidnapper, the one we've been communicating with. He said, now, just ask me, what's the number plate of your vehicle? I told him better now. Yes, I told him his my number plate of my car, and he told me to drive to Makindye, opposite the military barracks. Yes, I'm still driving the same car. Aprimo, UAV 554V.
I was planning to pray
to Makindye, opposite the military barracks, and back at Sim Towers. Sim Towers, opposite Makindye barracks. Yes, SIM Towers, a building. Sim Towers. I drove and parked there and waited. After some time, he called again. Told me drive and go to Sarala Road.
around how much time?
Close to an hour. I drove to Sarala Road, quite a distance. Then he called me that, have you seen Kibiri Primary School? True, I had passed that school. Said, turn back. Yes, I turned and parked outside. He called again. Then I asked him, should I enter inside or I park by the gate? He said, okay, stop there. I parked outside, near the gate, outside, by the roadside. Then he told me, look behind. Do you see a signpost? I said, yes. He said, okay. Leave your phones inside the car. Get out. Go to that signpost. Pick.
What were you supposed to do?
So I left my phones in the car, picked the backpack with money, clocked the car, moved to the signpost at the back of the car, switched it on. He said, I'm sorry, take you back a little bit. He had told me, when you reach at the signpost, get the phone, it was a black polythene, switch it on and continue moving ahead. So, yes, I switched it on and I continued. I started walking. As ahead, there was a stage of Boda Boda. He called me again. That, do you see a Boda Boda there? Get a Boda Boda. It takes you to Ndeje Parents School Gate. I stopped by the gate, outside the gate. I didn't enter inside. So he called me again. That, do you see a mosque on your right? Take that road.
Still on border border?
After I paid off the border. I walked along that road. Then he called, after some time, he called again. That, you see a gentleman with a yellow shirt ahead of you? I said, yes, at work. Then I said, now, drop the bag there. I asked him in the middle of that, drop the bag and turn back. Then I asked him, what about Susan? Said, I've said, drop.
See a gentleman with the yellow shirt?
Yes.
Have you seen the gentleman with the yellow shirt?
Yes, he was ahead under a tree. There were two. One was with a yellow t-shirt, another one was, I don't remember the color, but that's a yellow shirt.
Shirt or a t-shirt?
A t-shirt, but it was ahead.
Was it a yellow shirt or with a yellow t-shirt?
A yellow t-shirt.
Move towards him and then do what?
He tells you to move towards him and do what?
Then said, towards him, then drop the bag. And then I said, now stop, drop the bag.
Which bag is that?
The one which had the money.
Yes, did you comply?
Yes, I did. Then I asked him, now what about Susan? He just said, please, put the bag down, go back the way you came.
Yes, continue.
Yes, I turned, started moving, Tambla. Then I met,
Moving to where?
they were back to Ndeje Primary School gate where I had disembarked from the border.
Yes.
Yes. And then as I was walking, I met a gentleman with a peculiar face of someone who resembling a musician who had just passed us. How a coincidence.
You met which side?
Pardon me?
As you're walking, you met?
Yes, I met a gentleman walking the opposite direction.
What?
Yes, the same gentleman I have identified whom I saw then. Opposite direction. As I was going back to Ndeje, for him I was going that side. But that face.
And what did you notice about F5?
About him?
What did you notice about the person you met?
I said he looked like Mose.
Okay.
Yes, said
Which Mose?
the late, the one who was the musician, said someone has died and is it a
Also at
ghost?
that time Mose had died, but you met the person you met resembled him.
That was a shocking. Why?
What features? Can you point out the features?
Yes, that's that whatever. Is what they call it? The beard, yes, that long chin and the beard.
Okay, did you talk to him?
No, I did not.
Continue.
So I went back to Ndeje parents' gate. I got another, there was a border stage, I got another border, took me back to the car, and I drove. Along the way, my brother John Magara called me. I affirmed to him that yes, I have delivered the ransom. Then I went to town and waited. I knew they were going to call me. Then much later, said no. Yes, Mr. John Magara called me, said no, come back home at his house. So I went back home and waited.
You waited for what?
Waited for the call, tell us maybe to go and pick Susan, because we had complied.
Yes, continue.
On Sunday, because we had done on Saturday, we had delivered on Saturday. On Sunday, we waited, no call. And I remember Mr. Magara coming to me, said, no, there's something not right. They've taken long. But it was positive. He said, no, maybe they are trying to confirm that the dollars are genuine, just to console ourselves. So the next day, on Monday, we all came to town to work. I used Mr. Magara's car. Then I was being dropped to town. Before I reached my place of work, he called me, said, Flora, the president has called me that I should go and identify the body which has been dropped along Entebbe Express Highway. Yes, I went to the Mengo office, and then my heart of hearts said, no, Mr. Magara should not go and identify the body. It should be me. When I talked to him, he said, no, the prisoner said I should go and do it myself. So we went, and true, we identified the body. It was
Did you join Magara?
Yes, I joined him, but though we moved in different cars. But we went, identified the body. True, it was Susan.
Did you have the courage of looking at the body deeper?
No, I didn't look at it deeper. I just looked at the face, like a glance basically, and I saw it was Susan.
Okay, continue. You confirmed Susan is dead?
Yes, from there we went back home. We had a vigil at Mr. Magara's home. The next day, went for prayers at Imbuya Church. We traveled to Hoima, and on the 1st of March, we buried Susan.
Yes, after burial?
After burial, police personnel came to our home to take our statements and scrutinize our telephones.
Sorry?
After burial in March,
Yes.
Police personnel came to our home in Hoima, Kitova, Bwendero. They took our statements and even took our telephone numbers to scrutinize the messages and communications I think we had during that time.
Is there anything of interest that was retrieved from your phone?
No, nothing.
Not even, but you earlier on told what this person was calling you.
Yes, yeah, that's a telephone number. Yeah, they saw our communications.
Yes.
The various, yes, they did. So I
Yes,
missed that.
continue.
Yes. And they took the statements how we were communicating individually. And they took this. Then they asked me that at a convenient time when I come to Kampala, I should take them back to the place where I dropped the ransom money. Which I did much later.
Who did you take?
The police, I don't remember. There were so many people we interacted with from police, I don't remember the
Okay,
names.
so there were police, you took them, yes?
Yes, we took them and I took them through how I moved.
Yes.
Then much later, I was informed that there's some people who have been arrested.
Yes.
And
Who informed you about the arrest?
the police. And then they asked me go and identify the people. I don't remember the date very well, but say in March, they paraded a team of people, a team of gentlemen, of men, and I was able to identify that same gentleman I've identified as.
Which gentleman?
The same gentleman I've identified in court here.
How many were they?
Well, I don't remember the exact number, but there were more than 6 then.
What color were they?
They were dark-skinned. They were dark-skinned.
So after identifying the people, what did you do? Okay, hold it. How did you identify him?
They paraded them.
Yes.
And asked me to go and touch on him,
Yes.
which I did.
So you went and touched him?
Yes. And they did it 2-3 times, or they kept on changing them.
So you did it 2-3 times?
Yes.
They kept changing their position?
Yes.
Yeah, so after identifying him, what did you do next?
I made a statement, and I signed. I wrote the interview. I wrote a statement. They took a statement from me, and then I signed and went.
Okay. What about apart from signing the statement? What else did you sign?
There was a form and there's some documents. Okay, there's some documents I signed. Yes.
How would you identify those documents if they were shown to you?
Looking at my signature on them.
Just stop of signing the document. My lord, I'm training. It is PM 69 identification parade report. My lord, I pray that the witness be given the opportunity to. First hold it.
So in your mind, you saw this person as, let's say, working relative.
Yes.
Now, you have bypassed yourself with this gentleman. Did you ever see him take the bag containing the money?
No, I did not.
And the two gents who were standing on the left, did you turn your back again and see them, or even come to know what they were doing after you dropped the bag?
Like I told you, they were ahead of me. He called and said, "Do you see a gentleman putting on yellow ahead of you?" So I dropped the money before getting to them. So even I didn't see them. They were ahead. Yes, please.
Value kyokka n'obalaba kyebaakola nkalaga nti oli byakulisinga muga nti olaba abaami bali abakuli mu maaso so baali mu maaso teyabalaba okumanya kikyebakoze.
Okay. Having but that means you had bypassed with effort. It was going up again.
Yeah, look, I don't know if it was done well. We crossed paths. We crossed paths. He was going the opposite direction.
Okay, sorry.
Can you be clear on that one?
At what
Whether
point?
you bypassed F5 when you're still going to drop the money or after you have dropped the money?
After I had dropped the money, when I was going back to Ndeje Parent School gate. Yes, please.
What forms your mind that F5 was part of the kidnappers?
Yeah, as I say, I told court, I was informed that they had arrested the the suspects. So they paraded and see, did you see anybody? Do you know anybody among these people?
So you completely do not have any evidence that F5 was part of the kidnappers, other than you seeing him or bypassing with him on the road.
I beg your pardon?
You completely do not have any evidence that F5
No, I don't have that
was
evidence.
part of the kidnappers.
But that when they were put on parade, I identified him, that this one, I've seen him in that area where I dropped the ransom money. Yes, please.
Thank you. Let's go
I
to
had seen him
Yes.
aloli abuuza nti
in that.
nti F5 ojja kumuyitako ate ne bamuleta mu pale ne bamubuuza ani waliwali kumani n'amusonga.
Okay, let's go to the identification part. Who called you to go to Chireka police?
The police.
Who exactly among these police? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Do you remember?
We met so many security people, to be honest.
Abatajjukira abapoliisi yamuyita kugenda ku paleeti gye baali bakoze olundi lwamu abo yali alabeko oba bamanyi.
Okay. This you do not remember, I'm not just how many people were on the parade? You could have, okay, you could have counted. How many people were on the parade?
Over the years, I said there were more than 6. I don't remember the exact number. No. Over the years, I can't remember.
Abantu abaali ku paleeti baali basobola mu mukaaga naye tajjukira namba ye.
Okay. You have reached the parade. You have reached Chireka. Where did you sit?
When I reached Chireka,
Yes.
we parked outside. I parked outside the gate. And then they told me that they'll call me in. I'll walk in.
Okay.
So I waited outside, then was called in. With people lined up. They told me, go and, do you know anybody? I said, yes, go and touch the person.
Ngati nga bamaze okuyita Kireka bagenda mu motoka omusajja n'apakinga wabweru n'alinda bamaze wabuli wa gate bamuyita n'ayingira ng'abantu bwe bali awo abasinza layi bamubuuza olina bw'omanyi genda okukwatako.
Okay, Madam Flora. How was F5 dressed on the parade? Can you tell the color of the shirt, how he was dressed at the parade, the time you were able to identify him out of the men?
No, I don't remember the colors. No.
Tajjukira magezi yali ayambadde omwami oyo gw'asonzeyo Ssenga.
Okay, what time of the day did you identify F5?
I don't remember that time. But it was during the day. I don't remember the time.
Could you also remember how the others on the parade were dressed?
Not after all these years, I can't remember.
After all this year?
No.
Okay. Did you see the people changing positions on the parade?
No, I would be told to go back and come back.
You didn't see them changing
No,
positions?
no.
Were you ever given any photograph by the police of a fine before you were identified?
No.
Okay. Did the police carry out any address to the people who were on the parade before you identified?
Objection, my lord. That question is not for this witness, it should be for the police.
My question is, okay, let me come like this. You have been called by the police, okay, to go and identify. Did you see the police talk to these people who were on the parade before you identified?
No, because as I said, I already sit in the car. Then they call me and I just walk, touch, and then they tell me to go back.
I love that. Thank you.
My lord, I have just one for clarification.
My Lord John is still continuing.
Just a few questions. Prior to the day when you went to drop the money, have you ever seen this gentleman anywhere?
No, I've never seen her.
What time of day was it?
By the time they called me at around 9, when and the process, I think it was coming around 11, the time I dropped the money.
Around 9 in the morning.
No, they called me at around 9 in the morning. So the process of taking the money, driving to Sim Tower, Sabela trip, I think it was 11 midday. Yes, please.
Can you describe the area where you happened to meet this gentleman? Was it a village path? Was it a wide road?
It was not a very wide road, but medium road with people, with some homes. Past the mosque, there was even a homestead, these small rooms. When people were seated there, and I dropped that bag in front of that homestead, the Zigos type. I dropped in front of that home. The opposite side, there was a building, structure, okay, not complete. I had that gentleman with yellow t-shirt. It was a smallish road, not too wide, but like I had turned off. The one going to the school was slightly bigger, and turning off was slightly smaller. But not a path, but vehicles would pass.
In other words, what I want to bypass each other closely, or there was some sort of like distance where he was walking from and where you were?
It was slightly close because the road was not so wide. It was close.
Did you talk to him? The other thing I wanted to know, earlier on, you said that your brother was working with security for his own security.
Yes, please.
Because you feared that he could also get kidnapped.
Yes, please.
So, listening on that, I wanted to know, did you have any fears when you were going out to get the money that maybe you are also in danger?
As I told court, we had reached an extent say that we do away with security, and we're praying that this kidnapper should call someone else and not Mr. Magara. So as I said, I told you that when he called me, I myself, I said, yes, I'm going to do it.
Exactly, that's what I wanted to know. As you're moving with this money,
Yes, please.
and the kidnappers were telling you, no, move, drop your car here, walk, take a border. Did you have any fears that you could be harmed or you could be kidnapped? Is what I wanted to know.
No, I wasn't scared at all.
One last question. You say that when you met Efraim, he was wearing a cape. Is that correct?
Yes.
How about on the identification already? Was he wearing anything on his head? Did he have a cape? If you can remember.
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember?
Maybe let's put on.
Okay, you told court that you saw F5 between 11 to midday. That is between 11 what?
AM.
Between 11
you said you were close, that you were, when you met him, the two of you were close. How close? I want you to estimate from maybe here to there.
Yes. Maybe like so. Not where you're seated.
So this was the distance between the
Yes.
Yes, my lord, the last part. He asked you whether F5 was in the form of Mosaic radio. And you said yes. What did you mean that he was in the form of Mosaic radio?
Well, a slender person with that, the facial, with a longish face with a long neck beard.
That is who?
For Mosaic. You know, Mosaic had just died and it was all over the place.
Yes.
So the pictures were so
Yes.
vivid in my mind. So they said, oh, was yes. So yeah, that. What
So I want you to talk in reference to him. Did you?
Yes, the way that his chin and the beard bit. Yes.
What do you mean exactly?
Being lean and the goatee, is it because the goatee beard?
That is to Mosaic or to the F5?
Here, as I've said, I saw someone resembling as I was moving that. But when they took me for the parade, I saw someone like this one.
So in other words, you saw a person who resembles Mosaic.
Exactly, and
You're returning, you dropped the money.
yes,
Now you're returning.
yes, I had moved some steps.
Did you meet him?
I had moved some steps. I can't tell, maybe 3 meters. A few steps, yes. I had already dropped it out, and I had started off my journey back.
Yes.
Yes. My Lord, I believe he must have asked Susan my number and my name.
Okay. Your brother John, when he was before this honorable court, he was able to tell us the person who was speaking that we know, and he said that person was Yahu Bates. Did you come to know him? Did you get to know him?
No.
Okay. He also told the court that Yakub was one of the workers of Gwendero Dairy Farm. He was one of the workers.
Not evidence.
Most of large man brought our food for him. Okay. You have also narrated to court your whole journey, how you traveled with the money towards the place you dropped it at JJ Howard School. What was the state of your mind when you were doing that?
I was steady, knowing that I'm going to accomplish this difficult task.
Were you terrified? Were you fearful?
Objection, my lord. The witness has answered the question that she was taking.
I thought this is cross-examination.
Yes,
My brother should
she
relax.
has answered the question that she was
He
taking.
should relax and wait for us to cross-examine.
Okay, please. But you're not going to circumstances.
My lord, I could only refresh my question, but my brother should also be restrained
my Lord, maybe when a witness answers a question, that's it. Why would you want to impose answers on her? It's my duty to protect my witness.
My Lord, this is cross-examination. We need to be guided.
My Lord,
You can ask
cross-examination has
any
limits.
question. Any question.
Yes. My Lord, there's a difference between the examination in chief and cross-examination, correct? Whereas in examination in chief, the rules are the state may not ask leading questions. In cross-examination, actually leading questions can be asked. And the protection that he's talking about only come in if the witness is being badgered or harassed unduly. So in this case, when my colleague asks which state of mind were you in, and maybe the witness has not understood the question when it says, were you terrified or were you fearful? I don't think, the state has to kind of...
I think there was nothing wrong with it.
There was nothing wrong with that.
Perhaps the rephrasing of it.
My Lord, if I may be given an opportunity, he asked, what was your state of?
Yes. Madam Frola,
Let me facilitate this now because Councillor was Charlie. I think the court of getting the ssente. The state here in the primary school. I was saying
Madam Frola, you have taken this money and you've been given instructions where you should drop the money. Okay? You told the court that immediately you dropped the bag, you turned and moved the bag to the other side. Understand?
Yes, please.
What was your state of mind when you were moving away after you had dropped the bag?
Again, as I've said,
Yes.
I was more relieved that I have dropped. I've given the money the kidnapper had requested for.
Okay.
I had delivered, not giving. I put that it handed. I delivered.
Okay. Confirm where you had been asked to put the money, you saw two gents seated and the tree. Confirm the court.
As I told court, the two gentlemen who were ahead, they were not seated, they were standing.
They were standing,
Yes.
but under the tree.
Yeah, they were discussing electric.
So you confirmed that.
Yes.
Wait, tell me. You want the person to answer on misinformation. I think that's correct.
Apologies, my lord. I could refresh my question so that it is
Wait,
clear.
between us and share the
Apologies, my lord. You also told the court that when you were leaving the movie, you saw a gentleman whom you have identified as FI. How was he dressed when you saw him?
He was putting on a cap. I saw the face.
You saw the head.
The face and the face. I saw the face.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't, because we were moving.
What about the dress? Or the shirt?
I don't remember that bit, but because I looked at the face and like something struck me. I don't remember that fit down, but I saw the face and said, "This is a ghost or what? This person who passed on, not resembles someone who has passed on. Is it the same person or what?"
in your mind, you saw this person as, let's say, relative.
Yes.
Now, you have bypassed yourself with this gentleman. Did you ever see him take the bag containing the money?
No, I did not.
ngamaze okuyita omwami aba yavuza nti wamulaba nga ajjawo ensawo eyo yayimise ddala ati yamulaba.
And the two gents who were standing on the left, did you turn your back again and see them, or even come to know what they were doing after you dropped the bag?
Like I told you, they were ahead of me. He called and said, "Do you see a gentleman putting on yellow ahead of you?" So I dropped the money before getting to them. So even I didn't see them. They were ahead. Yes, please.
aba yabuuza nti ate abaami abayiso baaliwo abayimiridde wansi w'omuti wakyuka n'obalaba kyebaakola nkalaga nti oli bwe yakuyisa enyonga nti olaba abaami bali abakuli mu maaso so baali mu maaso teyabalaba okumanya ki kyebakoze.
Okay. Having that means you had bypassed with effort. It was going up again.
Yeah, look, I don't know if it was done well. We crossed paths. We crossed paths. He was going the opposite direction.
Okay, sorry.
Can you be clear on that one?
At what
Whether
point?
you bypassed F5 when you're still going to drop the money or after you have dropped the money?
After I had dropped the money, when I was going back to Ndeje Parent School gate. Yes, please.
What forms your mind that F5 was part of the kidnappers?
Yeah, as I say, I told court, I was informed that they had arrested the the suspects. So they paraded and see, did you see anybody? Do you know anybody among these people?
So you completely do not have any evidence that F5 was part of the kidnappers, other than you seeing him or bypassing him on the road.
I beg your pardon?
You completely do not have any evidence that F5
No, I don't have that
was
evidence.
part of the kidnappers.
But that when they were put on parade, I identified him, that this one, I've seen him in that area where I dropped the ransom money.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Let's go
I
to
have seen him
Yes.
aba yabuuza nti
in that.
who called you to go to Chireka police?
The police.
Who exactly among the police? Could you remember?
I don't remember.
Do you remember?
We met so many security people, to be honest.
This is not remember. I'm not asking Sarah. How many people were on the parade? You could have. Okay, you could have counted. How many people were on the parade?
Over the years, I said there were more than 6. I don't remember the exact number. No. Over the years, I can't remember.
You have reached the parade. You have reached Chireka. Where did you sit?
When I reached Chireka,
Yes.
we parked outside. I parked outside the gate. And then they told me that they'll call me in. I'll walk in.
Okay.
So I waited outside, then was called in. With people lined up. They told me, go and, do you know anybody? I said, yes, go and touch the person.
Can you tell the color of the shirt, how he was dressed at the parade, the time you were able to identify him out of the many?
No, I don't remember the colors. No.
Thank you.
tajjukira bugezi yali ayambadde omwami oyo gwasonze Ssenga.
Okay, what time of
I don't remember that time, but it was during the day. I don't remember the time.
Could you also remember how the others on the parade were dressed?
Not after all these years, I can't remember.
After all this year?
No.
Okay. Did you see the people changing positions on the parade?
No, I would be told to go back and come back.
You didn't see them changing
No,
positions?
no.
Were you ever given any photograph by the police of FI before you were identified?
No.
Okay. Did the police carry out any address to the people who were on the parade before you identified?
Objection, my lord. That question is not for this witness, it should be for the police.
My question is, okay, let me come like this. You have been called by the police, okay, to go and identify. Did you see the police talk to these people who were on the parade before you identified?
No. Because as I said, I was going to sit in the car, then they call me and I just walk, touch, and then they tell me to go back.
What time of day was it?
By the time they called me at around 9 in the morning, and the process, I think it was coming around 11, the time I dropped the money.
Around 9 in the morning.
No, they called me at around 9 in the morning. Yes. So the process of taking the money, driving to Sim Tower, Savannah trip, I think it was 11 midday.
Was it a wide road?
It was not a very wide road, but medium road with people, with some homes. Past the mosque, there was even a homestead, these small rooms. When people were seated there, and I dropped that bag in front of that homestead, the Zigos type. I dropped in front of that home. Just opposite side, there was a building, structure not complete. I had that gentleman with yellow t-shirt. It was a smallish road, not too wide, but like I had turned off. The one going to the school was slightly bigger, and turning off was slightly smaller. But not a path, but vehicles would pass.
By passing each other closely, or there was some sort of like distance where he was walking from and where he was?
It was slightly close because the road was not so wide. It was close.
You talked to him. The other thing I wanted to know, earlier on, you said that your brother was working with security for his own security.
Yes, please.
Because you feared that he could also get kidnapped.
Yes, please.
So, based on that, I wanted to know, did you have any fears when you were going out to draw the money, that maybe you are also in danger?
As I told court, we had reached an extent say that we do away with security, and we were praying that this kidnapper should call someone else and not Mr. Magara. So as I said, I told you that when he called me, I myself, I said, yes, I'm going to do it. He was a slender person with that the facial, with a longish face with a long neck beard.
That is for
For Mose. You know, Mose had just died and it was all over the place.
yes.
So the pictures were so
Yes.
vivid in my mind. So they said, oh, was yes. So he had that. What
So
it
I
said.
want you to talk in reference to him. Did you?
Yes, that the way that his chin and The beard bit. Yes.
What do you mean exactly?
Being lean and the goatee, is it called the goatee beard?
That is to mosaic or to the facial?
Here, as I've said, I saw someone resembling as I was moving that. But when they took me for the parade, I saw someone like this one.
So in other words, you saw a person who resembles mosaic.
Exactly, and
Meet him. What distance? How long was that distance? From when you took the money when you met him?
I had moved some steps. I can't tell, maybe 3 meters. A few steps, yes. I had already dropped it out, and I had started off my journey back.
Just
Yes.
the boys, kidnapper, get your phone, your number.
My lord, I believe he must have asked Susan my number and my name.
I can identify the audios by listening to them, because I can tell my voice, and also I can tell that man's voice.